Hello, and welcome to Bendy Presents The Movie Test of Time, a podcast about revisiting our youth through the only medium that matters, the movies. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and
Woo!
I'm one of your don't don't interfere with the intro, please. Excuse me. And I'm one of your scary, nightmarish hosts. Joining me as always is our other scary and nightmarish host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack? Beth's still laughing from me scolding her there.
I don't think you've ever yelled at me ever.
It wasn't a yell, right? It was just a
Such
stern
an,
tone of voice.
you're such an
I
asshole.
am such an
This is my
asshole.
intro. Ah, sorry, my face hurts.
Right.
I needed this today. So I
Good.
had an anniversary
Hell yeah.
with my husband for
Uh,
marriage.
oh,
So we've
okay.
been together.
Unconventional, but we'll
We've
accept
been
it.
together. I know. We've been together for 16 years.
Wow, congrats.
Uh, 18 not married. Like, I don't know. It's like everyone's like only marriage counts apparently, which I disagree. So we've
Yeah.
we've been together for 18, married for 16. Uh, uh we bought each other, we splurged
hmm
and sent away for a variety pack of German mustard
Oh, well, I was wondering
in the
what this was gonna
tubes.
be. Amazing. Wow.
Yes. So we've got like six different varieties of mustard, and we're like planning the meal. Not even. We're just like whatever it is. It's like, oh, Mexican night. Well, which
Get some
mustard
mustard.
would work best on a taco?
Amazing.
It's terrible. I'm sorry, everyone. Like, I'm ashamed. But no, it's like uh it's other than like with my own family, it's the
hmm
longest relationship I've ever had.
hmm
And he, he came home last week because he's like he has this tooth. Did we talk about the tooth?
I don't think so.
Okay, so he's got this front tooth that like, fell out. Like he's got really bad teeth. I've talked about that, I
Okay.
think. So like half of his mouth is made of gold. We had this whole
hmm
conversation. Like I actually asked the dentist, stop me if I've already told you the story. I was like, okay, like if he dies, should
hmm
we get the gold out of his mouth? And they were like, that's actually like, no, you don't, because they mix it with all this other stuff.
I see.
And the amount of gold versus other stuff, it's like not really like realistic. But she's like, someone called once and they wanted us to make a house call to go and like pull a tooth out of like their dead father's mouth to keep the gold.
Why? I've not heard
Anyways,
this story
little known
before.
fact, you cannot do that. I'm sorry, right? Sorry. Um, so so his So he had like a crown or whatever, and that it fell out when Harper and I were in New York City. So I get this photo of like Charles, who's lost a tooth, and then Mike, who's lost the same tooth,
hmm
both of them like smiling together. And so then he had to go in and they actually had to like pull his tooth out,
Oh,
which I don't know if
really?
you've ever had a tooth extraction.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
They
But
suck.
it's like
Oh, one the
it's
front?
like
Because
between his front tooth and his, yeah.
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't miss
You
them there.
don't even worry about that.
Yeah,
No,
nobody
he's
can
already
really
got
see
one
it.
missing in the back too, but he was like, no, you can't see it. So why
Yeah,
bother? But
yeah.
this one is like it's got a flip it. So anyways, he came home, he was like numb in the mouth. This is my anniversary, I guess. Like it's
Uh-huh,
such a great
uh-huh.
day. He was numb in the mouth. And like the joke has been, I've been waiting for this tooth to fall out our whole relationship
Okay.
because it was put in with like shitty Tahitian glue.
Uh-huh.
Nothing ever holds there. It's fallen out so many times, and he's like, "Oh, it fell out again," And I was like, "Oh my God!" Like the joke was I'm just waiting around for the tooth to fall out so that I
hmm
can finally see what it looks like, and then I'll leave you. So it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I didn't leave him. I
Okay.
love him with his spooky tooth.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I'm excited.
that's my
Okay. I
story.
love it. That's good. That's good.
I'll
Good.
send you the photo. I'll send you the
Please do.
photo.
It's a nice anniversary gift. Um,
It's so cute. Yeah.
I just want to go back to something because I had an idea when you were talking about it. Would it be an idea to, with your mustard containers, set up like, like spirits in a bar? And like so you've got
Yeah.
like a kind of rack behind you so you can just go up and
Yeah.
like hit a button and dollop. Is that an idea? Is that marketable?
You have to think. beyond that
Yeah, okay.
because Mike will bring his own tube. He brings his tubes of mustard out in public.
I love it.
So it needs to be like, I think it needs to be like a tool belt or
And
a little
correct. Oh,
basket.
like Batman's utility belt, but with mustard.
Kind
Okay.
of, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay, I
Yeah.
like it. Okay, I
Yeah.
like
I
it. I
think it'd be
like
like,
it.
psh, psh, psh.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay, I
with all
love
of
it.
your leather work and that you're doing,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
these,
A keen leather worker, of course. I'll get in the case. As we all know, as has been firmly established, I'm a keen leather worker. Um, so I'll get on the case.
sorry. Whew. Yes, please.
Okay, got it, got it. I got
Let's
you
move
covered.
back with. Sorry, I don't know why this is so funny.
Um,
Everything's funny today.
it's good. It's good. That's what we want. So I
Uh,
have been to what did I, so yeah. I went to a live comedy show. Have you
ooh.
heard of Auntie Donna? They're a comedy group? No?
Who?
No, does that sound familiar?
Who?
Auntie Donna. So as in,
No.
okay. So they're a
Auntie Donna?
correct. Um, they're like a comedy group. They have a Netflix show, but they also like have been doing internet stuff for years, and they're doing a live tour at the minute. And like it's one of these things like, I've seen it lazily described as doing like surreal comedy, than being compared to, like Monty Python and stuff like that. You know yourself,
Yes.
anybody who does
Yep.
that sort of comedy, they're their own thing, but that at least gets you into the right area. So it's just like a sort of wild, like train of thought, and they kind of like go from sketch to sketch without any with crazy connective tissue. Like they did a whole sketch, and it was essentially one of them recreating the time he went to a deli counter, an Italian deli, and he asked the old lady behind the counter for a certain amount of meat. He goes, "Can I have 150 grams of meat?" And she like she cuts it exactly and puts it on and is off by 1 gram every time. And he's like, "Holy shit!" He's like, "Okay, 77 grams of salami." Like that's the sort of thing. And it was brilliant. It was so good. But it was just it has been a while. I so enjoyed it, and it was funny throughout. And it's been so long since I've been to a comedy show where I've just like really, it's just been such a lovely experience, and
Yes.
I've missed them, and it was really fun to be back at one.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
literal
So next,
only
no, you
downside
go.
was that
I interrupted. Sorry.
the only downside was that I was in Dublin, so it was 2 hours there and 2 hours back, which they could have done without.
Ah,
That's fine.
gotcha. Andy.
I know that's small potatoes for you guys. You're like, oh, I had to drive 2 hours to the
Yeah.
pharmacy or whatever. It's like, oh my God. But anyway, so that was great.
That's like no, it's like 2.5 hours to like Los Angeles, right? That's
Yeah,
like,
it's
but that's,
true.
Belfast to Dublin. You have to cross the border.
Yes, we
Which is
do.
this cute little sign that's like,
You're in a different
now
country
you'll.
now, and it's like, what? You seriously?
It's yeah,
Uh,
it's sweet. It's
Um,
sweet.
the other thing, because I know we wanted to talk about this when I'd finished it, is that I finished, or sorry, my girlfriend and I finished the Charlie Sheen documentary.
Oh, okay.
Kind of wild,
What'd you
right?
think? I
And
know. I've
uh,
never heard of sexuality compared to a menu before.
that was amazing, truly. Like really nuts, a
Yeah.
really nuts
Yeah.
reveal, because I was like, what the fuck's he talking about? And then he was like, and
Yeah.
then the guy was like, is this the first time you've publicly acknowledged that you have sex with men? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, oh, is that what he was saying? Okay. I mean, cool. Go nuts, Charlie. You get it.
Yeah.
Um, but it was a wild thing. It really was. Like the whole, like, what I find interesting was that although it was, really his life, and what they showed of his life was insane, and there was so much crazy stuff that happened there. It also felt like a wee
Yeah.
bit of by the end of it, it was like, oh, Charlie, he's doing all right now, and it's like it was a bit of whitewashing, or like a hagiography, because like, you know. I do think that he comes across as a really charming individual, and like he seems like a probably like a decent guy who has been kind of like decimated by addiction issues and enablers helping with that. But you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just, you know, I always whenever I see documentaries of this type, I always have to think a little bit about, you know, how much of the actual story are we seeing here? Are we seeing, you know, a carefully curated version of this to show, you know, he got fucked up, he had like a lot of problems, but maybe let's only show some of this, you know, so show enough of it that makes him sympathetic. I don't know.
I think I'm gonna read his book
Yeah.
because I love celebrity autobiographies. So I will let you know what else I learn.
Please
I
do.
appreciated John Cryer. Like it was just amazing the people that they got to like talk. His friends were like talking about him and like what except for, it would have been really cool if they got Nick Cage on there too, but
Mm.
apparently he's got his own problems. But just like Sean Penn and like, you know, Denise Richards was on The Real
Yep.
Housewives of whatever, Beverly Hills, Orange
Uh-huh.
County, I don't know. Uh and so like she really is the person that like comes off as on in the documentaries. She's
Mm.
really honest. She's the type of person that will make a sandwich for the prostitutes because they're hungry, you
Yeah.
know, and I just I agree there's much more story there. Uh but just the idea of like, you know, learning how to yeah, I'm not
It's
going to censor myself. Learning how to cook or like cook crack through Tarantino movie.
yeah. Yeah,
I was
very
like,
interesting. I was like, oh,
damn, damn,
they,
buddy. I mean, we've all seen the movie. Yes. Uh-huh.
is that really like, and it really made me
Yeah.
think about
So,
that. And it was like, have a lot of people really, is that how a lot of people did learn that? Who knows?
I mean, if Charlie Sheen did, probably everybody else did too. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm guessing. But and what's so John Cryer, who was in Two and a Half Men, which was the show that I never watched, even though it was super popular. I'm just not that into sitcoms,
Yeah.
frankly, but
Yeah.
like he was so honest. And he was just like, yeah, like I got paid way less, once like this whole Tiger Blood, giant, like the network was paying him to, you know, do all these drugs or whatever, or like maintain his lifestyle. But he was like, he's in this pattern, right? Of like he gets better and they like has everything set up the way it should be set up for someone to like succeed in life, and then he fucks it up. And like this is a pattern, it will and it may happen again. And so it's just interesting that Charlie Sheen is kind of like like he hasn't been in anything for a long time.
True.
He's poked his head up, he's written a book, he's got the documentary, like he's got I also think he's like a hyper intelligent human being,
Yeah.
which doesn't always benefit you. So,
Yeah.
as smart as you are, you can do dumb things, right?
So
So I
true.
don't know.
I,
I'm glad you
I,
watched it. So,
the one,
well, good.
thank you. You know, I find it very interesting. I also find, um, Chuck Lorre to be an interesting person, like in terms of, you know, he is obviously a fairly like titanic uh, TV producer, and some of his stuff
Yeah,
I thought was very much like a, you know, how do I protect myself? How do I protect the studio? Do you know what I mean? Like it felt a little
yeah,
calculated.
yeah,
I just wasn't sure what to make of that guy particularly, you
yeah,
know. But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
like as I say, still very raw and very interesting, I must say.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And it was like there's stories that like I remember that tabloid like haven of him, and I didn't know he actually went on tour and was just like spouting whatever he wanted to spout, and people were paying money and listening. Like, that's that's Hollywood at its worst, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, we still need to pay your bills, so we're gonna put you on stage, and everyone's like, yeah, let's go, cheer you on for, you know,
Yeah, that all of that is
being a
fucking
mess.
insane. And it's like, that an idea like, you will, and clearly obviously you're gonna see people who will just enable the shit out of that because they are on, the Charlie Sheen money train. They don't want to fuck that
Yeah,
up. And it doesn't really matter
yeah,
what state he's in as long as
yeah,
they keep getting paid. It's kind of fucked.
exactly.
But yeah.
Yeah,
Um so yeah, very interesting. Worth a look, folks at home, if you haven't seen it, for sure. Um, do you have
it's
any
on the
other?
Netflix, I
It
believe.
is on the Netflix.
I do.
Mhm.
Okay, so we were talking about police
Uh-huh.
and how you pronounce police and like if you have names for cops or like slang. So someone wrote in another affectionate old school term for British police based on the hats they no longer wear was tit heads.
Oh yeah, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh, so this is from the English writer Martin Amis, but I know exactly like what type of hat like he's describing. So yeah, tit hats.
They
There you
are
go.
pretty embarrassing hats, I must say. So they're kind of
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah. No, that's
Well,
good.
it's like Harper doesn't have one in this room, but it's like an American lamp that look like boobs.
They do.
I don't know if you've seen them. It's just
I
like an
have.
orb with like a yeah, with a yeah. So that designer, did well and they flourished and created many versions of a boob lamp for your, living room, dining room
Yes.
or kitchen.
I think they're kind of akin to, like, have you ever seen the guards that like guard the Buckingham Palace and like they're on horses and stuff? And they have a similar kind of
Um,
form
I have
factor.
I have not.
Okay,
I
okay,
will though.
okay.
But the friend I was traveling with, who's a mutual friend of ours, was like, he's very anti-monarchy, and I was like, can I just go look at the outside of Buckingham Palace? And he
Yeah.
was like, okay, but I couldn't get close enough to like, scream an obscenity or anything.
Thank goodness. He might have.
Yes,
Um, so
yeah,
I love
right.
it. Do we have any other occurring for the folks at home, or shall we move
Nope,
on? All right.
nope. We
All
could
right.
move on.
Okay. All right. So so just to say for the folks at home, I don't know whether you noticed, but we saw, you know, we had a wee Jeff Daniels. Yeah, Jeff Daniels. I nearly said Jeff Bridges. We had a wee Jeff Daniels
Yeah.
connection in our previous two episodes. And as we're gently sliding into a horror focus, around the spooky season, around Halloween here. And as a result, our next movie, and the movie we're going to be looking at in this episode, is A Nightmare on Elm Street, which neither Beth or I have seen before.
Never seen this movie
Never.
before. I it's kind of like how did this skate through? I don't know. So I will say it was very enjoyable to watch something for the first time that's been in like the lexicon of
Yes.
life,
I
my whole
I
life, right? Because
yes.
it came out in like 84 or whatever, 83, 80 something. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Would
Okay,
you would
so
sorry, just quickly,
quick synopsis. Yes.
would you have seen some of this, like, on TV or whatever, in the like bits and pieces here and there, or would you have seen none of it, do you think?
I mean, I've seen it's more like people dressed up on Halloween or like going to like like do you guys, I don't know if you do like the Boo Fest or whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
like they make up a building and you walk through it and like they jump out and scare you.
Yeah.
So more just that.
Okay.
But like, you know, I know the concept of Freddy Krueger and his weird hand and the hat and the shirt. That's just like, yeah, it's like
Yeah. Okay. That's it.
absolutely something I've seen throughout my life. How about you?
I would have seen clips here and there, and there's certain scenes in the movie that I had seen before. I think I had seen the Johnny Depp, probably because it is Johnny Depp, his sort of what happens with him and things like that, him getting pulled through the
Yeah,
bed and stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, But I realized watching it, I hadn't seen the vast majority of
Yeah,
it.
I'd seen none.
Yeah, fair.
So I was
Okay.
like, what? And Mike hadn't either. So like, and sorry, he's a genius. He was moving bags of concrete the other day, threw out his back.
Mhm.
So he's been watching lots of movies with me right now. I'm very excited. So I was like,
Nice.
do you want to watch Nightmare on Elm Street? And he's like, I don't think I've ever seen it before. And I was like, perfect. So it was fun to like be there, like watching it with someone else that had never seen it.
All
So, okay,
right.
quick synopsis for
Mm-hmm.
those just so you get for those of you who because apparently no one's seen this movie of the three people that I talk to most in the world. On Elm Street, Nancy Thompson and a group of her friends comprising Tina Gray, Rod Lane, and Glenn Lance are being tormented by a clod killer in their dreams named Fred Krueger. Nancy must think quickly as Fred tries to pick them off one by one. When he has you in sleep, who is there to save you?
Dun dun
That was a
dun.
good one.
Yeah.
Da da
Uh,
da. So that, yeah.
I I don't want to so like it was I don't know whether I want to get into this immediately, but I was like I kind of want to know what you feel about the film. How like did you enjoy it? Did you find it did it work for you?
I could have never watched it and probably been okay with that. How about you?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of the same. I kind of feel the same way. I think that like it feels its age and obviously like, these things probably having seen them at the time probably would have been more shocking or like I would have been resonated with you more, but like it feels and I think this was also kind of pretty like important in terms of reviving like the slasher genre and stuff like that. It was like one of the big movies in that regard. And also like it's a sort of film that has been
Mhm.
aped and kind of redone like in terms of maybe not directly, but influenced other horror things. So it's hard not to like see those bits and pieces and like not it's it's not going to surprise you with anything that it does particularly. But yeah, it was just a bit I think I felt very much the same way. Um, I I did make tons of notes, and it was also kind of like it's also kind of fascinating watching like these films from like what 40 years ago, and you're like guys are like
Yes.
that, and it's okay. Like I write,
Right.
did 80s
Right.
guys suck this much? Wait, he's her boyfriend. Jesus Christ. Was
Uh-huh.
for
Mor
the main part.
morality sucks.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's like this guy's the worst. He's awful. Um.
I know. Yeah.
So, I mean, for those of you that don't know, I mean, like, and I feel like we're going to be preaching to the choir for a lot of people, but this was a Wes Craven
Uh-huh.
movie, not his
Uh-huh.
first movie, but certainly an important one for him. He like looking into it, he had
Yep.
done a ton of other stuff. Um, I like look back into his past, and he did what was it called? Last House on the Left, which was his first film, and it sounds horrible, like it sounds legitimately awful and like quite exploitative. And I think I might have talked a little bit before. In the UK, there was films that basically were seen to be so grim that they would not get rated and they would not get released in the UK, and they were known as like video nasties. And this film, The Last House on the Left, was seen as a video nasty, so built a reputation for that. But yeah, it sounds
Mhm.
really fucked up. But it sounds like he's the kind of
I'm
guy.
kind of
Uh-huh.
I guess that was supposed to get a limited release.
Yes.
Like it was only supposed to be shown in a few theaters. So he was like, well, if it's going to be in like whatever small amount of theaters, I don't know, 15 or whatever. He was like, I thought I had more creative license and like didn't have to worry about people's opinions as much. And he's like, had I known it was going to be like distributed across all channels everywhere in the world, like I would have done things a lot differently. So I think because of that, like Nightmare on Elm Street was probably like a saving grace for him.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it sounds like he did kind of like stumble almost in the horror films. Like he just kind of made that, then kind of Nightmare on Elm Street came together, and he was like, I guess I'm a horror guy now. Um, but like
Mm.
I think that I can see, and I think there's some really good stuff in there and some real flourishes. Like whenever I kind of learned what the budget was, I was kind of like, wow, actually, that's really incredible considering like how little money they had for this thing.
It was like $1.1 million dollars or something.
The figure I saw was
It
80
was like
grand.
1.8.
So like I'm not too sure, but like I say, the figure
Okay.
I saw was that they put together 80 grand, which is,
It
peanuts.
it was all to say it was made with like no money at all.
Yeah.
So okay, so it says okay, so the film cost roughly 1.8 million to produce, which was only 57,000 was reserved for the ambitious special
Okay.
effects. Um,
Jeez,
yeah. And
that's
Jim
not
Doyle
very
was the
much
stuff.
money.
Yeah. But the movie made its entire budget back in its opening weekend. And
Hell yeah.
then
Um,
then they made all these other Krueger movies.
so um Yeah, so before we move on from Wes Craven, the one thing I want to say, just for people that don't know, I'm sure everybody does know, but like he was also his other kind of big franchise was Scream, which was also kind of
Yeah.
at its time also a shot in the arm for the horror genre, I think, and kind of like helped it kind of evolve. So like a really influential guy,
Yes.
I think, in horror movies. Um, but yes, sorry, what were you
Yeah, I
saying?
would say so for sure. Well, so I sometimes I feel like, well, let me redo this. Okay, so I was like, because I was kind of like, so he was the writer and the director. So he wrote the script and he also directed the movie. Um,
Hmm.
So, Nightmare on Elm Street contains many biographical elements from director Wes Craven's childhood.
Oh.
The film was inspired by several newspaper articles printed in the Los Angeles Times about the Hmong refugees who, after fleeing the United States because of war and genocide in Laos, Cambodia, sorry if I'm pronouncing any of this wrong, and Vietnam, suffered. Okay, this is fucked up, Andy. This
Hmm.
is why I don't sleep. Suffered disturbing nightmares and refused to sleep. Some of the men died in their sleep soon after. Medical authorities called the phenomenon Asian death syndrome. The condition um, afflicted men between the ages of 19 and 57 and was believed to be sudden unexplained death syndrome or Brugada syndrome or both. Craven stated it was a series of articles in the LA Times, three small articles about men from Southeast Asia who were from immigrant families that had died in the middle of nightmares. And the people never correlated them, never said, hey, we've got a story like they didn't put it together. Um, so yeah,
That's
that's
wild.
what he based this off of. Which sometimes the idea is better than the execution of the idea,
Yes.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like this article is way scarier to me than the actual movie that Wes Craven made.
Yes. I mean, like, because I think that one of my favorite things is like all well, what was funny to me, it starts off with Freddy making his glove, and I'm like, Freddy, you're like some sort of dream monster, and you've got to make your own glove. That kind of sucks. I understand that it's kind of chilling putting a weapon together, but like, it was kind of like, I feel like you could have got a dream guy to do this for you. Anyway, the first kind of proper
Yeah,
time you
yeah,
see
I agree.
him,
I agree.
he's standing in an alleyway with these really long arms. He looks like do you know the Mr. Man? Does that
No.
okay. They were
The
like a
Mr. Man?
yes, they were like children's
I know the
books.
Slender Man.
They were like children's books whenever I was a kid. So you had like Mr. Strong, Mr. Bump, blah blah blah.
Oh,
So there's a
okay.
guy called Mr. Tickle who had really long arms and he used them to tickle people, and that's what it made me think.
That's that's super fucked up.
Yeah, it is sort of fucked up. Yeah, I like because like Freddy's so
That's super
inherently
fucked up.
silly. Like to me, like even in this, he kind of is silly, and I'm told that he
Yeah.
gets sillier as the movies go on, as the sequels happen. He becomes sillier and like more kind of
Yes.
OTT and like more
He had like
catchphrasy.
two lines, I think. Yes, he had like three lines in the whole movie. And it was like I was like, oh my God, he speaks kind of thing. Like at the
Yeah,
very end when she's like, I know how to get you.
it's
Sorry.
true. He's mostly just going, ha ha,
So
ah.
haha,
Yeah.
yeah. So I will say, I would say like the special effects were better than it's $57,000 for special effects, like just hires you the guy
Yeah.
basically. And they did like there were like I would say two big special effects like scenes,
Yeah.
one of which is where in the very beginning of the movie, the first sexually promiscuous girl gets murdered.
Yes.
um And what they did for that was they actually built a rotating room. So like
Ah,
when she's
okay.
like getting, so you don't see Freddy like in person, but like he's like in, the nightmare world and she's awake in the real world, but he's still able to like, slash at her or whatever. So she's like on the ceiling, she's on the wall, and they can't I was like, how are they doing this? This is actually really good. And it was because they created a rotating room.
It really was incredible. That looked fantastic, and there was so much great stuff in there. And I think there's even a couple of times where like Freddy kind of like takes his fingers off or like cuts himself open, and there's like bugs underneath and stuff like that. And it's like that looks great.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah.
Um, I truly incredible work by the special effects folks for this. It really was nice. I also thought that like the amount of blood that came out whenever Johnny Depp's character was killed
Johnny Depp.
was just
Yeah.
like, whoa,
Yep.
that's fucking proper
So
a
they had
fountain of blood.
to, yes, it was a fountain of blood. I was like, the only thing I could compare it to was like The Shining. And I was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
how'd they do that? And so they they rotated the camera. So the bed was on the ceiling, and then they just had a fire hose full of like fake blood just like
Hell yeah.
shooting out from so it just looks like, yeah, there's a fountain of blood coming out from Johnny
It's
Depp.
I literally just
It could have
watched
been wine. I don't know.
could have been. It was really good. It was almost certainly
Because
not
it's
blood. It
John.
was too rich in color.
Yeah,
I was watching
yeah.
the
It's like a
Simpsons.
nice Bordeaux.
Like a nice Bordeaux, yeah. No, don't waste the Bordeaux. I was watching the Simpsons episode, The Shining, the Halloween of Horror
Huh.
one where they do The Shining, and
Oh my
um,
God. Oh my God. This is totally off topic, but
okay,
we got the kids. They love the Treehouse of Horror series,
yeah,
like all of the Halloween episodes. They box them all together. It's called the Treehouse of Horror. So Mike found an advent calendar
hmm
that's Treehouse of Horror, so it started today.
so cool.
So
That's amazing.
when we're done, I'll send you a pic. I'll send a pic.
Please do. It was just the because it was just the bit that
Okay.
really made me laugh was, and
Sorry, I
it was making
interrupted
me
you.
think about the blood. No, you're quite all right. Was the whenever Mr. Burns is showing them around the hotel and the elevator doors open and the blood just pours out, and he's like,
Yes.
that's strange. It normally
Yes.
gets off at a level two. It was just a great response. It was just a very calm reaction, the dramatic music. It was very funny. All right.
Yes. So,
So, mhm.
yeah. No,
The
go.
music was done by Charles
Yes.
Bernstein. Um, I, you know, I was listening to it and I was like, it's an electronic score, and sometimes those really synthy scores just I find a wee bit grating. I think it was quite well done, and it
Hmm.
turns apparently he wasn't. It wasn't just that he was a big sort of electronic guy. It was that the budget again was extremely low, and it was cheaper to do it electronically. But it was, I say, I found it a wee bit jarring, but I still thought it was well put together. I thought it worked well for the horror scenes. Like, not all of the time, but certainly like some of the early Freddy stuff, it worked really well for me. Um, but yeah, I don't know. How did you feel about the music?
Um, it I think like well, so I did some research into this too because I was like, it doesn't quite feel like it fits, and I couldn't
Yeah.
figure out why. So I guess that um Gary Wright, who wrote the 1970s pop song Dreamweaver,
Hmm.
like oh Dreamweaver,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
It's okay.
Um, yeah, he gave him not only an artistic setting to jump off from, but a synthesizer riff for the movie soundtrack. Craven has also stated that he drew some inspiration from the film from Eastern religions. So it's like
Hmm.
this movie that is so simple, like from the outside, like is actually based on, Asian death syndrome, and the songs are like Dreamweaver, but also Eastern religion. So it's like, I don't know. I guess because he cared so much about it, and like was like really going deep into his own life and like religion and articles and life, and I'll give him a pass. I'll give him a pass
Absolutely.
on the suckiness of it.
I and
If
and
that
I,
makes sense.
and again, like reading about the budget constraints he was under gave me a lot more respect for it
Yes.
as well. So like, and
Yes.
it seems like he worked like he did quite he worked a lot, but he also did Cujo as well. And but that was the only other film that
He did
I
Cujo?
yeah, he did Cujo. That was the other major one of his.
Good.
Which is also
Yeah.
kind of a nuts movie, and one that's kind of that of his
Read the
career, the
book
only
and
one.
watched the movie.
See, yeah, I haven't read the book of it, but it's another one that stuck in my head in terms of like
It's
the
it's
movie. I was like,
it's
oh
good.
yeah.
It's yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. Cujo the book is really good.
okay, yeah, I'll have that on the list.
Um, okay, so I mean, did you find this is silly. Like, does like has it aged well? Do you
Ugh.
believe the world they created?
I that's a good. I don't think it has aged super well. No, I felt it was a wee bit like. Maybe not disjointed, but I don't know that it flowed super well for me. I found it to be a wee bit like all over the place. I think that the Freddy stuff was good whenever it happened, but like it was um I suppose the very nature of what he's doing, it will make things feel inconsistent, but it maybe just wasn't the wrong side of that for me. And it just
Yeah,
felt a wee bit like I I appreciated the ending, the kind of like rug pull. I love a movie that does that where it's like, oh, you solved it, you've won, huzzah, and then it's like, no, you haven't,
yep,
motherfucker, these are
yeah,
all fucked.
no, yeah,
I and
yeah,
I was kind of wondering whether it was one of the first films to do that. I'm really curious to check that out. um but yeah, if I consider everything and like watching it, I didn't know all this. If I consider the budget constraints, it was him writing, directing, them putting something like that on its feet. With those limitations, I think it's pretty impressive. But I think now, through the lens of all the horror films I've seen, it felt a wee bit lacking, and I was like waiting for the resolution. I was hurrying it up almost.
yeah. And so like the big surprise is like, because you always want to know sort of like the reason that the evil person is evil, right? And
Yeah.
turns out that like the main character's mom and a bunch of kids like trapped him in a building and lit him on fire. The quote is, "He's dead, honey, because mommy killed him." Like, go to sleep, you'll be fine. And I was just like, and she's kind of just like wandering around the whole movie in a bathrobe with like a bottle of whatever,
Of gin or whiskey or whatever. Or
hidden in the closet. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I guess like, yeah, that wasn't quite good enough for me in terms of what made him and created him. Um, so that's okay. He's dead, honey, because mommy killed him. Like, go back to sleep. I also yeah, it's just like some of the quotes like stop growing your fingernails or stop dreaming because like Tina like scratches her boyfriend but doesn't really and like or yeah or herself and she's like all these scratches where'd they come from? It's like from the dream state or whatever. I don't know. I forget my point. I
Hmm.
just I don't care about budget.
Yeah,
Um I care about story. I think the actors did a good job, to be
I
fair,
think so.
with what they had to say in a script. But it's like, I don't know, it's taken on like it's not like Rocky Horror cult like, but it's like how many Krueger movies have been made? A lot. A lot.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
like when you ask the question like have you seen clips? It's just like it's just part of like who I am as a human being. Like you're born knowing who Freddy Krueger is.
It's true. And like so much of my understanding of who he is through a Rick and Morty episode where like essentially
Oh, interesting.
there was like a dream episode and they did and essentially they followed Rick him back to his house and he was living in this like apartment and he comes in and he's got a wife and kids and he's like really stressed out and his wife's asking him to hold the baby and everything and it's just a real kind of like play on how ludicrous it all is. And but it's
Uh-huh.
also like I also know that apparently one of the main thing I know about Freddy is that he says bitch. Like he punctuates so many of his like sentences with something something I'm coming to get you, bitch. And like this really the Rick and Morty episode really played that up. And there's like none of that in this movie at all.
No. I think he gets more personality as the movies go on.
I think
And
so.
so I'm not going to subject you to that,
Yeah.
nor me.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have at some point like it can't just be like Michael Myers and be like silent behind a mask, right? Or Jason or whatever.
And I think like
Did they ever talk?
I don't
That's scarier than he should have not talked. That would have been scarier.
yeah, that's it. And I know that like Jason doesn't talk. I'm pretty sure certain Jason Voorhees doesn't talk, and I'm pretty sure Michael Myers doesn't talk either. So I suppose
Yep.
he had to
Yep.
distinguish himself, but like they eventually had Freddy fight Jason, I believe. Like they've had them kind of fighting each
That's
other
right.
for the
Yep.
movies.
Yep. It's kind of
Um,
like Alien and Predator somehow merged, and you're like, cool. And like
yeah,
Godzilla and
I mean,
Kong.
I like those. I mean, I like those ideas in theory, but they never like work out too well often. Um, but yeah. Um, so. Let's see, what else was I thinking about? So, what did you
So
give me your thought?
I have some stuff.
Uh-huh.
Well, again, like what looks like from the outside a very simple movie
Hmm.
is not, right? So the in the original script, like he's so Freddy's got this like sweater that he wears and it's like red and green, uh or red and yellow based on the colors worn by Plastic Man, which I don't know what that is. Anyways, so Wes Craven read an article in Scientific American in 1982 that said the two most contrasting colors to the human retina were red and green, and he decided that's what the color of Freddy's like sweater should be. So it's like the
Interesting.
level of detail, it's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane. Um, the inspiration for the character Freddy, this is kind of like this is like next level for me.
Hmm.
Came from several sources in Wes Craven's childhood. Fred Krueger was a schoolmate of his, with whom he had shared a paper route and who had bullied him for several years. Um, in the last house on the left that you were talking about, Craven also used this experience as inspiration, calling the villain Krug. So it's like there's someone out there whose name is Fred Krueger.
So good.
And everyone is like, "You're Fred Krueger?" And he'll be
Yeah.
like, "God damn it. Yes, I am. And it's based on me. And I was an asshole to what like never bully because you never know when someone's gonna become a really famous horror movie director and put you in as like the scariest, like murderer in a nightmare ever.
Wild.
So
Don't.
watch your P's and Q's.
It's a good rest. It's a good reason for not bullying, but just don't bully anyway. Although easier said than done, right?
Oh, I know
Um,
it's true. It's true. But like that's that this is like probably the best like not revenge, but like equalizer that I've heard
Absolutely.
so far about a bully.
It really
Yeah.
made me laugh whenever at the start of the movie it was like and introducing Robert Edlund as Fred Krueger, and I'm like, Fred? I thought he was Freddy, and it's like
Yeah.
he was like, look, can you bill me as Fred? I want to sound more professional. Do you know what I mean? Like I thought he was just Freddy, and he
Yeah.
even like describes himself
Yeah.
as Freddy in the movie. It's just Fred Krueger at the start. Um, it's a
Yeah.
good, it is a good horror name. Like Krueger in particular is quite a scary second name. It really is. Um,
It's terrifying.
so who did you like in it? Like, I mean, I think like in terms of actors, which ones worked for you?
Um I think this is a hard question to answer. I mean, there were Johnny Depp obviously was like, it was his first movie. Wes Craven is the one that discovered him.
Yeah.
I thought Fred Krueger did a good job, or the guy that, what's his name? Eastland?
Robert Edlund, yeah.
Something Eastland. Robert Evan. Right. So I thought he did a good job, being scary. I saw, I I would have probably
England.
cast
Right.
Nancy differently.
Hmm.
England, right? That's right. Um, she was just a little, I don't know, something wasn't quite right there. And I saw some, and I can't remember who they are, but I saw some other names that were kind of like in the hat for that role. Um, but the mom, kind of like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. He's
She,
dead, honey, because mommy killed him. She stole the show.
and that really surprised me because I was like, um, I didn't know what that was. It just felt so odd to me. And I
Yeah.
don't know that it worked necessarily. I don't know that it was additive to the film. The fact that she had this, the relationship when she was
Secret where
younger.
she and her friends like, yeah, we murdered somebody, but don't worry about it. He's
Yeah,
dead.
it
It's
was an
like,
odd one.
what? What?
I mean,
Like if
because
your
like,
parent was like, oh yeah, we burned someone alive in a house over there. Just don't worry about it. It's
yeah,
fine.
yeah, it's fine. It's happened. Because I
I'd be
don't.
like, what the fuck, mom?
I
Yeah.
think that's the issue, I have with things in terms of like t trying to over explain stuff, and I don't think it needed that at
Yeah.
all.
No,
Um,
I think the less explaining, the better,
yes,
honestly.
100%. You don't need it. You don't need it.
Yeah.
Um,
Less is more.
yeah, but like as we said, I think it really does share a lot of DNA in terms of. So I should say that I didn't watch a lot of horror movies as a kid, and certainly even when I was younger, because I saw Hellraiser when I was far too young, and it really freaked me out. And I was just like,
Uh-huh.
I don't watch horror films. I just don't
Yeah.
want to watch them because that film's messed up.
Mhm.
So like, I really missed all of this. Like, I didn't go back and rewatch any of this stuff. But I have an awareness of Halloween. I've seen the first Halloween movie, things like that. So I kind of like see a lot of the DNA here, and like the first movie in this franchise, going back to Nightmare on Elm Street, is so much more serious and so much more in that vein than I think what this series inevitably became, which was like much more campy, sort of a campy slash horror franchise.
Mhm. Which, for the people that enjoy it, like props to props to Wes Craven. Um, so you were talking about, sorry, this is off topic, but you were talking
Hmm.
about how his alarm arms elongate at the beginning.
Yes,
So he's like chasing her in this alley, and you're like, oh God. And then like he like opens his arms up and they're just like huge arms and it's like
yes.
super fucked up looking. He used puppet arms attached to fishing poles to get that effect.
Oh, interesting. That's so good.
Yeah.
So goofy. It's
So that was
amazing.
like probably $5. I know, I know, I know.
It's such a great first reveal because it's just like, what? What's happening? But they
Yeah,
make me laugh.
that freaked me out. I will say, I was like, oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because it's just, I suppose it's surprising because it's the first time you're kind of like, wait, what? Like, what's going on with this guy? Like,
Yeah,
he's just what he can just do
yeah,
whatever, and then he's like teleporting about the place and stuff like
yeah.
that. And yeah, um, it's interesting
I
stuff.
couldn't quite understand. She was like, I didn't quite, and maybe I'm just old, but I didn't quite understand her whole like, I guess, okay, a few things were interesting to me. Normally it's like a horror movie where the kids see the horror and the adults are like completely like oblivious to it. And they're like, everything's fine. And they're like, no, we're gonna die. And then, it's like, but in this, like the adults also saw the horror, and I thought that was interesting. Um, also, so Robert Englund, who plays Freddy Krueger, like was trying to figure out kind of, they were like, let's get a stunt person to play this, and they were like, no, we need an actual like actor. So Robert Englund stated that Freddy's walk and mannerisms were inspired by his costume. Looking at himself in the mirror when he put on a fedora, he thought he looked like an old gangster like James Cagney.
Hmm.
Because of the
Interesting.
full glove with real metal knives, as opposed to the stunt glove with fake knives for safety. It was so heavy he found himself unintentionally dragging his right shoulder due to the weight.
Oh,
So
really?
he created the stance with a gunslinger who has his pistol and holster in his hip. As for the unusual way Freddy walks, he studied his posture and derived the sideways movement from a surfer standing sideways on a surfboard.
Like it? That rocks.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that
I
is cool.
know.
I think that's great, and I
Okay,
think
and then I have
it's
one more.
yeah. Sorry, go on.
Go ahead. Okay, so just so if for those of you that are throwing, things at us right now, okay, in 2021, the film was selected for preservation at the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Hmm.
This is also director Wes Craven's first movie to be selected into the registry. So, like, even though we're talking shit about this movie, it has a lot of relevance
That's
culturally.
I think so. I I think that's undeniable, and I think that like the time to have seen it would have been but at
Yeah,
the time in the 80s for sure. And I think that like
yeah, agreed.
I think the genre stuff in particular, especially stuff that's heavy on special effects, can age very rapidly. So I think that that is always going to hurt things as well. But I can totally understand why it is as significant as it was. I also, from the very fact that like Johnny Depp's in it as well, in his first major film role is going to, and like
He was
the
in
kid,
it for like he did. Yeah.
he's a big part of it, and like considering, what a massive career he went on to, even that's significant enough, to kind of like give it the profile that it has. But like you say, also Robert Englund, isn't it Englund? I keep freaking En
It's
Englund,
England.
Englund, yeah.
England. Englund.
Yeah. So like,
Do
considering
with that
like
what you will.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Considering what what he did there and I think his work there also kind of makes it kind of timeless as well because it was such a kind of unique take on a kind of horror monster. But yeah, good stuff.
Do you ever think that like your nightmares can kill you?
Um, I don't think so. Do you?
Uh, Probably. Yeah. I mean, it's a horrible thing to say out loud, but like it's been documented to happen
Yeah.
before.
I guess.
Um, and granted, like I haven't like dealt with like Pol Pot or like, big travesties and genocide in my life
Hmm, hmm.
um yet.
Sure.
But I don't know. Like I think dreams are a powerful thing.
There. I think so. Okay. So is there any other thoughts or anything else you want to go over before we maybe start wrapping things up?
I have one more fact.
Hmm.
One of the main reasons that Johnny Depp was chosen was because Wes Craven's daughter thought he was dreamy and threatened to run away from home if he wasn't cast in the movie.
Amazing. And that it could be the reason Johnny Depp has such a big career now because somebody thought he was dreamy. And
Yeah,
don't get me wrong,
yeah.
he is dreamy, very dreamy, especially in that I couldn't believe he was wearing like a cut-off shirt at one point. It was like, wow, was that ever a thing that guys wore?
I know. That's what Mike said too. He's like, "What's up with the shirt?" And I was like, "Well, that's what like the girls are wearing these days." But apparently, yeah, it was a thing. It was
Right?
totally a thing to like have like a football jersey, but you like cut it above your belly button to
Yeah,
keep your shoulders warm, obviously.
well, of course, naturally, it needs to be done. Um,
Yeah,
the only other
yeah.
thing I've written down that I thought was worth saying is I wrote down is Freddy, the original fedora guy. I don't know. Like whenever fedoras became like a thing in the like 2000s for guys to try to make themselves look I don't know, interesting, I guess. And I wonder whether
Well,
Freddy was the
do you
start of that
remember
revival.
girls were it's true. No, girls were wearing them too. Do you remember like going to clubs and the girls would be wearing fedoras?
That's a good point.
I actually have a playlist that we made for like Burning Man, and it was just called Fedora, and it was like I kissed a girl and I liked it, right? Like all the Katy Perry songs and that like shit. Like what would a girl in a fedora in a club want to listen to? And it was like, yeah,
That's yeah,
all this
that's the right
and some Lil
answer. Yeah.
Jon.
Yeah. Um, okay, so we move on to our final few wee sections here. Um, so I want to
Yes.
obviously my favorite section, which is I was talking about outfits, who does it to fit, who had the best outfits in the movie. What are your thoughts on this?
I gotta go with the Kruger sweater.
The Cougar sweater is iconic. Like it's a good look. It
I
is a cool
mean,
sweater.
yeah,
And the
it's
claw
like
hand.
iconic.
It
It's
is.
iconic. Yeah, yeah.
I do like
You're,
I
you're gonna say Johnny Depp.
no. Well, I did like the belly shirt. It was like, do I need to start
I know.
do I need to bring back belly shirts right now today? Um I
You
think that
do.
like
Go get your
my
scissors.
huh? Yeah, it's true. Just
Go get your scissors.
cut the bellies out of all of my shirts. Um The my vote was Tina because I really I find that whole sort of like men's shirt sort of like just by itself it's super hot, so I think that was
Yep.
working for me. But like it was a tough one because like other than Freddie and obviously Johnny Depp's belly shirt, there was nothing else really kind of talking to me.
Like everybody was just kind of like in their like jammies. So it's hard to pick.
Basically, or like
Yeah.
deeply religious, sort of like it was such a like a religious thing to it all. Everyone was like very buttoned up
Yes.
and cardigans buttoned up at the top and things like
Yes.
that. So yeah,
Yes.
it was good.
I mean, like one of them was running around with a crucifix, so
Straight. Uh, love it. So final thing to ask
uh,
Beth is in terms of this film, obviously we haven't seen it before. This is our first time watching it, but would you say it's worth
yeah.
revisiting,
Yeah.
remembering, refusing, or redoing?
I guess this is a hard one for me because I've seen it now when I'm like 45 as opposed to like 10 or
Yeah.
whatever. I could have I don't feel like my life has changed having seen it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say like refuse.
Yeah. I think that's where I am with it as well. Like
Like
it's
if
a,
I would
a
yeah.
soft refuse, but a refuse.
Yeah. Or like remember if you've seen it, like no reason to like go back and
Yeah, I
watch
don't
it
think so.
again. I mean,
No.
it's just like it's if you like campy horror. That's what it is.
I like I
Um,
and I am told that the series kind of like there's some great ones. Some of the sequels are truly great as well. So like I don't know whether, you know, it would be worth watching more of them. I suppose if anybody at home is a fan of them and wants to let us know, would be curious. But yeah, I think this
yes,
first one
yes,
as a, I guess, blueprint or as a prototype for what the series became, it's interesting, but I wouldn't be in any hurry to recommend it to somebody.
agreed. You're such an
Nice.
asshole, Andy.
I really am. Can you believe
All
it?
these people work so hard for their like
Yeah.
$1.1 million. But I mean, they made money,
Hey, they did.
like it became a franchise.
Yeah.
Now it's in the United States National Film Registry,
Right.
Library of Congress. So they did something right. We're probably the problem.
Definitely. I definitely feel like the problem. Yeah, for sure. I love it. All right. So let's get on to our final wee section of the podcast. Beth, what has been bringing you joy this week?
We started the Penguin.
The Penguin?
Um, the Penguin, is it on Apple? I don't remember. So it's starring Colin Farrell and it's like based off of the Penguin
Oh,
from the Batman series.
yes. Uh-huh.
It's really good.
Okay.
It's
I
really good. It's
I
not Shogun because I'll get there
sure.
eventually, but we're really enjoying it.
Okay. Like I remember like not just watching seeing it bit the first episode, be like, oh, okay, and then never bothering going back to it. But I do love Colin Farrell, so I maybe should reevaluate that.
Yeah. And like I guess it combines like my love of comics with my love of the mafia. And that's kind of like because like we were doing a rewatch of The Sopranos because I'm waiting for Slow Horses to come out so I can binge watch that.
Yeah.
And Mike was like, I watched this one episode on the plane, and he was like, it was pretty good. And I was like, okay, like anytime he thinks anything is good, like finally,
Yes. You're like,
because he
hooray.
makes fun of I'm the one that has to pick. I know I'm the one that has to pick, and then he's like, this is fucking stupid. And I'm like, God damn it, I know, but like, you pick.
Yeah.
So I quite, and it's just like it's it's just an interesting character. It's interesting how much makeup he has to wear to look like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like 3 hours like getting ready and like it's his whole gait. Actually like the way he walks reminded me a little bit of Freddy Krueger.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I love it. Yeah, and I really was like kind of interested in that, and then again, I don't know. I have very
You're
little
like, I
time.
need to know if Charlie Sheen puts ice up his butthole. Yes.
Yes, and that's all I need to know. If I try to see
Priorities,
internet with
Andy.
ice up his butthole, then sign me up. Otherwise, maybe eventually. Um, I um. For me, it has been, and like even the constant thing that I go back to are like, so like podcast, some of the podcasts I listen to, I absolutely love and are consistent like lifesavers for me when I'm like out walking and things like that. I have
Yes.
movie podcasts that I'm listening to currently. How did this get? No, wait a minute. What's it called? Blank Check
Um,
is
okay.
so good, and they're doing like a Coen Brothers retrospective at the minute, and it's just been so nice. Because like there are filmmakers who I've seen, I'd say the vast majority of their output, and it's just really kind of lovely going through their catalog and listening to people talk about them like in depth because I find them endlessly fascinating. Their career to be very fascinating.
Agreed.
So yeah,
Agreed. I Some of their stuff I cannot live without, and some of their stuff I'm just like, what?
yeah,
But that's why I love them because you never know what you're gonna get.
exactly. Exactly. They're fairly singular, I think, in terms of filmmakers. I mean, like, there's a lot of auteurs and a lot of people doing their own thing, but they are some of the most interesting filmmakers, I think, in, recent history.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Much more, yes, yes. I'm not gonna make mean comparisons, but yeah, I Um, Nobody does things like them.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah. Okay, okay. Um, so we have reached the end of this week's episode. Beth, can you tell everybody where they can find us?
Find us at bendypodcast.com. If you would like to give us a like on Spotify, that would be
Yeah.
super awesome. Um, just go and you click like or follow. I think we can figure that out. But yes, just tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, come listen.
Yes,
We're here.
please. Thanks. All right. In that case, folks, as always, we'd like to remind you to stay bendy.
Bendy.
Nice. All
Very
right.
good.
We love you, folks.